Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world at the moment watching this. I'm Laurie-Ann, and this is episode 1. This is my kickoff show for Speak and Stand Out. Love for you to just type in and let me know where you're coming from. I am here to answer all of your questions regarding how to use speaking, the various forms of speaking to grow your business. So I'm just going to hop on over to my Facebook page and share it with a few others. See. Type in where you're from. And if you have any questions, just type in like a bunch of question marks so that it'll be much easier for me to find them. I'm going to be answering one question that was emailed to me earlier from somebody who watches this. Let's see. And let's kind of get started here. This is episode 1. This is my kickoff show. I'm going to be sharing with you my new website that has finally been done, the question of the day, and let's get you speaking. You know that there are over 228,000, that's 228 with 3 zeros, events, meetings, conferences, etc. that happen every single day. But here's my twist on that. Just because it's one meeting doesn't mean that it's just one speaker. You can have multiple speakers. As a matter of fact, I have spoken myself at events where I was one of 12 people, at least 12 people that were speaking in breakout sessions. So there's 228,000 a month, which comes down to when I divided it by like 30, that's like 175 a day. And I kind of joke with my clients, like, do you think you could find 1 or 2 a month to speak at, or maybe even more? So let me just shut my volume down over here. And remember, feel free to share this with your friends, with your groups, people that you think would be interested in this as well. Let me know where you're coming in from. Hello, Beth. I am so excited that you're here. Jan, I am really excited that you're here. It's your question that I will be answering later in the show. My intention is to keep this short, sweet, and to the point, but always be of service to you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Laurie-Ann Murabito. I am best known as a professional speaker and an author of 2 Amazon best-selling books, Rethink Leadership and Rethink Your Leadership. A couple of years ago, took a little bit of a right-hand turn because somebody asked me, Laurie-Ann, do you help people write speeches? And I was looking for something different instead of hopping on a plane to get to work. And here I am. Now I'm helping entrepreneurs leverage speaking opportunities to grow their business, get visible, sign on clients, and to be able to impact a lot more people. So let's see. So I want to share with you my new website. Love for you to take a peek at it. The domain name is Speak and Stand Out. It was recently done by a web designer. Her name is Catherine. So if anybody, wants to reach out to her, you can there's a link on the bottom of the website to reach out to her, or feel free to contact me because I will be more than happy to introduce you to her. She did a fantastic job. I don't know how many of you guys have actually done websites, but you always know, like in the very beginning, it's like you don't even know what you want it to look like, but I just know that you want it to work. And with very little instruction, she was able to craft something that I think it's beautiful. She's done a really, really great job. So let's see. Let me kind of scoot that around here so that it's not in my way. Speaking is this amazing form of opportunity to, just get your name out there. Let people know like what your services are, actually even letting the audience become a huge referral base for you. It's a way for you to share your expertise, showcase your expertise, and walk away either with clients, new customers, more of an awareness level, but also a group of people who can refer you to others. I can't tell you, I have been speaking for a number of years, and a lot of my request now as a speaker comes because I was in your audience. I heard you speak, or somebody on our board was in your audience. That can happen to you as well. Another great way to be getting some speaking opportunities is you've got to own that you're a speaker. And when I say own that you're a speaker, I'm talking about is speaker on your signature for your email? Is it on your website? Is it on your, like, if you've got a LinkedIn profile, is it on your LinkedIn profile? Is it on your Facebook? All the different profiles that you have out there. Is it out there? You want to make sure that essentially what I'm telling you is to claim it. Step right into it and let people know that you are a speaker, because if you're claiming that you're a speaker, then that means that I can hire you to speak at one of those 228,000 meetings that are events, conferences that are every single day. Let's welcome a few more people. I see Jen is here. Hello. Jen just did a virtual event. I think that is still going on. And Mo, I am so glad that you are here. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Let's see. So with speaking and with this show, what my intentions are is just to be able to give you really good information. So love it if you let's just take a moment and type in any questions or that you have about speaking, whether it's how to get in there, what do I speak about? Let's see what else, or maybe if you have this belief about speaking, because a lot of people feel like some of my personal clients before, in the very beginning when we start working together, I always hear it feels like this club, this secret club that's hard to get into. And that's, I just want to be here to tell you that that's not the case. Let me know what questions that you have, and I'm going to be sure to answer them. If I don't answer them today, they're going to be part of future shows as well. Let me share with you. I had a piece of paper. Here we go. Let me share with you some of the things that we will be talking about in future shows for the rest, for this month. Why to use speaking as your best form of marketing. Even shy introverts make great speakers. So I don't want any of you shy introverts to think because I'm shy, I don't have to become a speaker. Speaking, in my opinion, is a learned skill. I will share with you my story. Growing your business with speaking and how to have instant authority. Those are some of the shows that are going to be coming up this month in October. So a little bit about my story is that I was actually painfully shy. I'm talking I couldn't even make eye contact with people. And I went from not being able to make eye contact with people to crossing and getting on stages and speaking to hundreds and thousands of people. And so it is a learned skill. Yes, there are some people who just have that knack to get up in front of people, but speaking is an art. And you get better with every single presentation that you give. A lot of times I'm asked what was my best presentation, and I always say it's my next one, because I'm always going to take a little something that I learned from the past one and use it to make me even better into the future. So let me just check and see what kind of questions we got coming up. Let's see. Great. Jen says that she's got speaker on her LinkedIn. Who else has speaker on their LinkedIn profile? Okay. Another question on where do you get started? And Mo, I know that you are in the real estate and finding people new homes. So there is a bunch of places and a bunch of people that you really could hook up with to really collaborate with. Tips on keeping eye contact with your audience or the camera when speaking. Okay, these are great questions. Keep bringing them in. Let's see. So that's my story on how I went from being super shy and not being able to make eye contact. Now I get up on stage and now doing the Facebook Live show. So there are so many different forms of speaking. Everything from your 2-minute, or even 1-minute elevator pitch. Or maybe you're at a networking group and, go around the room and everybody has 2 minutes to explain who they are. I mean, how many of those have you sat through that you felt were kind of boring, but we all end up following the same format? Well, what if yours was a little different? What happens when yours is a little different? People remember you. People lean in a little bit more to you and want to tell me more about that. So your elevator pitch, speaking on stages, doing Facebook Lives or any form of live streaming. How about videos? If you want to start creating videos, maybe you want some tips or how each of them is so different. I recently, a number of you have probably heard me say, when you're sitting, your energy is one way. And when you're standing, like standing on a stage or just standing up to do your videos, there's a different energy that comes with that. And I actually have been hunting for a stand to put my laptop on so that I could stand when creating videos and also when doing Facebook Lives. I'm not doing it today. I am sitting, as you can see, but I'm really happy with the stand. It basically, my laptop becomes eye contact with, eye level with me. And for those of you who don't know, I am 5'10" without any shoes on. So again, feel free to share this with people and share this with your groups. And let's get started with where do I get started? And funny how I got a little story for you, which you'll read a little bit more detail about in a up and coming blog. But I was just this past weekend at a 25th anniversary party, and it's great to see family and friends. Some people I knew, and most of the people I did not know. And so what the heck does this have to do with speaking? This party was filled with retirees, some entrepreneurs, some small business owners, some government employees, some healthcare, some students, some very small children who aren't even in the workforce. Would you ever walk up to the front of the room with a glass and a little knife and cling, cling, cling and say, "Excuse me, everybody, I would like to share something with you that will change your life or your business"? No, you would never, ever do that. And so the same thing is true with speaking. You can't say yes to every opportunity that comes your way. You would end up speaking to people who have zero interest in what you're talking about, can't use your information, wouldn't be able to refer you to somebody, etc. And what does that do? The meeting planner is not going to be able to refer you to anybody. The audience won't be able to refer you to anybody because they probably weren't listening, because they were probably on their phones, they were texting, they were playing Candy Crush or some other game that we pass the time away with, or on Facebook, or watching some other live program like this. So you want to make sure that you find the right groups. And there are so many opportunities. So here's one thing that I tell my clients, my private clients, to do. Think about the groups that you already belong to. As entrepreneurs, because I know a lot of you that are here, I know that a lot of you are entrepreneurs working by yourself, so there's some sort of groups that you belong to, whether they are virtual or they are live events, networking groups, professional trade associations, maybe it's a chamber. Universities is another great place to speak for, but think about where you already belong. By tapping into your market now. So these are people that already know you. So that's kind of like a warm lead. So if you walk up to the president or whoever's in charge of finding the speakers or arranging the programs, you can just ask them like, hey, are you looking for any speakers in the coming months for one of our future meetings? Be more than happy to share, and share my speaking services and provide some education on X. Do you think that would be worthwhile to the group? Well, you're already a warm, they already know you. And this, it's like, yeah, we could definitely fit you in. We're already booked up until, let's say, April. Great. Now you've got a future date on the calendar. So tap into all the different places that you already belong to, because they're more likely to say yes. If there are local conferences that you attend year after year that are in your area and you've gotten to know the people, approach them. And if you haven't gotten to know them and you go to some of these local conferences, I'm thinking of like a number of times, like I've gone to conferences and, if I'm not the speaker, not a big deal, because I'm going to go and I'm going to find out who the meeting planners are. Who's in charge? Who would put this together? And I'll just kind of network with them, get to know them, compliment them on the program, and then just start asking them questions. Hey, I happen to be a speaker and I've written a couple of books. When do you start your planning process for next year? And they'll give you a date. They'll tell you like in 3 months, we'll start planning for next year. Great. I'll just reach out to you then. Do you have a business card? And then you just swap cards. And it's really that simple, and it's just another form of networking. So another place to think about, like, where can I start speaking, is think about your clients. Ask your clients and customers, where do they hang out, essentially? What meetings do they go to? What associations do they belong to? Also find out what they read, because a lot of there are lots of publications that also have publications and email lists that also have conferences or some sort of either special events, meetings, agendas, whether it be like virtual or live. So tap into those as well. So I hope that, any more questions, feel free to type more questions in if you have any more about like how to get started. When this blog comes out, it's also got some research tips on how to use Mr. Google to find other associations that are in the area, that are in your area, or even an area that you're going to travel to. I mean, if let's just say you want to travel the country and you know that you're going to be in San Francisco visiting friends. Well, what if you could find an event to speak at? And that does take in mind that your business, is something that is not limited by your geography. So feel free to type any of your questions in there. I'm just going to peek over here to see so that I don't miss any questions. Let's see. Where do I get started? Tips. The tips on keeping eye contact. I think that can be an entire show. Let's see. Great. Beth says that she has speaker on her LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook business page. Fantastic, Beth. I'm glad that you do, because you have such a key, important message. Let's see. Jan says, a handwritten note to those out-of-town folks makes a huge difference. Oh, I love stationery personally. I am a big fan of the handwritten note and thank you notes. And as a matter of fact, I know that Mo is also, every once in a while I always get like a card in the mail whenever we've met at some sort of an event. And she's fantastic with that. So let's see. I am going to share with you a question that I got by email. So I'm going to call this the Q of the day. And the Q of the day is, how do you encourage event coordinators to recommend you to their peers? And this and I will share with you exactly what I do. It's in my agreement. I use an agreement for all of my events, and it's an agreement. It's a one-page agreement and not a legal contract. And here's exactly what I say in this agreement. The client hosting the event agrees to provide a testimonial on their letterhead and at least 2 quality introductions between the speaker and other business owners or meeting planners who would benefit from Laurie-Ann's talk. Simple as that. They're agreeing to it. They signed your agreement. Then after the event, they have to just they have to introduce you to a couple of people. That's a great way to get some more spin-off business, or at least start building the relationship. That's the key thing with speaking, especially when you're just getting started, when nobody knows that you're a speaker, is that one is that all that speaker information is out there about you, so that if I'm a meeting planner and I happen to pop onto your website, I already know, oh, Jan's a speaker. Jen's a speaker. It's really obvious for me to know that. But also in your agreement that you want them to introduce you to, because meeting planners know meeting planners. If you're working in a certain industry, chances are, like banking, they know other bankers in other banking institutions. So they'll be able to introduce you to that group of people. So that is the cue of the day. I hope that helps. And it's short and simple. Now, the other thing about your website, since I was saying, hey, have speaker on your website, is to also make sure that it's really, really obvious. If I'm a meeting planner, please don't make me hunt through your website to find out if you are speaking. So this comes down to like having a speaker tab, speaker or speaking tab. I show up to your website. It says speaker. It says speaking. I, as a meeting planner or some sort of meeting or conference coordinator, I know exactly where to go to find the key information about you as a speaker. So what kind of information do you want on that speaker page? Well, I want to have some pictures of you speaking, and if you don't have those, don't worry. You will get them as soon as you start speaking. I want to see a couple, 2 to 3 talks that you give. So make them these sexy, compelling titles. If you are on here and you've got a couple of talks that you're already giving, type in the names of your talks. And if you're considering, like, trying to get your talks, and you want to get some feedback from me on your titles, because you want them to be sexy and compelling, not like Relationships 101, what you need to know today. I mean, that's kind of been done, and it doesn't say anything, because as a meeting planner, their job is to get butts in the seats. They want people to attend their conference, attend their meetings. And that's not just a time investment, sometimes it's a financial investment. So we need to get people there. So if your title is compelling, provoking, that's what you want. And if you want to, send it to me, or feel free to type it down below in the comments. And I will be sure to come back and say, yes, this is great, or give you maybe a couple of suggestions on how to spice it up a little bit. And then you want a few lines that describe the talk, and maybe a few bullet points, also what the audience will take away. What are the learning objectives of each of those talks? A way for them to contact you, the meeting planner, so that they can talk to you about their event. What else are you going to make sure that you put on a bio? I always suggest to my clients a short and a long bio, and your bio is not to be confused with your introduction. That is completely different. Your bio is a little bit more, let's say, left brain. And your introduction before you're speaking is more right brain. And why the difference? Well, I want the logical reason on why I should be going into your room and the right brain so that, like you just want to draw in your audience. You want them, again, from the very moment that they start talking about you from your introduction, that you get people to lean into what you're saying. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Let me just kind of like check through some of these comments. Oh, Jan says she needs to do that on her website, so I bet she's going to do that. Where do you find a photographer to do the promotional pictures? That's a really good question. One of the things that I do is, Jan, I also like that. Finish the damn quilt. That's a great title. One of the things that I do, especially when I'm speaking out of town, because I don't know the area. I mean, you can use Facebook. You could find a recommendation for a photographer, or I actually have a formula, and that's what I'm calling it, a formula that I use with Craigslist. And I have found some great videographers who show up and do amazing work. And the reason why I say that it's a formula, which I'm going to write that down, I will definitely go over that on one of our future shows, because you really do want to know what kind of camera they have. And especially with Craigslist, there's a certain way that I have found very successful in using it and not getting spammed. Because as you know, if you give too much information, you can get on spam, and then you start getting dates from like foreign countries for some reason. So there's a certain formula that I use, but I'm going to write that down, that we will definitely do that on a future show. I have gotten really good photographers and videographers that show up, do the work. I walk away with all the raw material, and it's sweet and simple and rather economical, the way that I will show you how to do this. So just to kind of go over again, like some of the other shows that we're going to have coming up this month, like next week, we are going to start talking about why use speaking as your best form of marketing. Speaking for the shy introverts, growing your business with speaking, and how to get that instant authority with speaking. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you want, love for you to share this with some other people. They can watch the replay, hit subscribe so that you will know when the future shows are coming out. And other than that, speak and stand out. This has been Laurie-Ann Murabito, and I hope that you all have a phenomenal week.